Everything about you is weird. I tried to touch myself less today.
Oh. Remember when all your home workouts looked like this?
Tybo. That's my
Baby
dude.
Blanks here, and I'm gonna show you how to fist fight some random guys.
William Blanks. That's my boy.
We've come a long way is what we're saying.
Today we're going to be chatting all about home fitness, what the options are, what some of the struggles are with people who try to work out at home, etc., etc.
Back in the day, there was a lot of things like fitness on tape, and it was like Richard Simmons. Is that his name? It's not Russell Simmons, right?
It's Richard, but a lot of these folks are going to be asking,
Richard
what is
Simmons,
this tape thing that you're referring to?
So tape was like a square thing that you would put into a device.
Rectangular.
And rectangular thing that you'd put into a device and press play, and then it would go.
There's an actual piece of tape in there.
Yeah, there was a tape in there or something. I don't know the mechanics of it, but there was this little tiny guy.
That,
How else would you describe him?
didn't look like he lifted at all or exercised. He didn't
But
look fit.
salute to him because he at least kept
Great guy.
people. Yeah, he kept people in shape at a time when home fitness wasn't really prevalent.
He was really big in nursing homes. The old people loved him.
Yeah, so there was a lot of those tapes that were like at home fitness was basically you're doing like some sort of dance class, what we call Zumba now. There was Suzanne Summers, what you doing like the
leggings
leg
and the
thing,
little
yeah.
leg lifts and stuff like that.
All that.
It's mostly like a thing for women, like geared towards women, right?
geared towards women, yeah. I can't imagine ever like trying one of those, but then came Taibo, which was more like fighting stuff, and
it was a made up martial art,
Yeah.
I guess. Like I don't think it was marketed as a martial art. It was a fight style fitness.
Yeah, like
kickboxing-esque.
Yeah. We even had an audio tape from an old MMA fighter, Bas Rutten, that we used to do. That was insane. It was insanity.
insane.
It wasn't literally insanity because that's another one. But basically, where we're going with this is they've evolved a lot, and nowadays I can't think of anybody that still does that. Do you know anybody that still does like
The old school type ones?
like P90X, Insanity, any of those?
I don't know if people still do P90X. It might have been
I think it was a thing of the past.
shake weight.
The shake weight.
What is that? I refuse to imitate that gesture.
You wanted to come demonstrate?
I do kneeling shake weights. When I do my shake weight, I make sure I'm kneeling.
P90X and Insanity were interesting ones because that is when the business model of home fitness changed.
Yep.
So I think it was Beachbody, or maybe they weren't Beachbody back then, but then they got huge. They came up with that concept of like, we're gonna really put a lot of money into this. We're gonna put a ton of infomercials. I'm sure if you're old enough to remember the infomercials of like the before and afters, and it was a ton of them, testimonial after testimonial, before and after. Look how my body changed, and like from the comfort of your own home, they would send you everything. They'll send you some bands, everything that wasn't included. It was a 90-day program, and honestly, it was like a decent one. P90X had like decent programming compared to some of the other ones.
It's definitely one of the better ones I saw, and they had actual like phases, which I don't really see anymore. It had like I don't know if it was proper strength, hypertrophy. I don't think it was that, but it definitely had phases. I remember that.
Yeah, different emphasis each day. It was like a lower body day, and then they even had like a stretching yoga type of workout in there. So,
I think they did it the best.
Yep, and agreed.
Monetarily, it showed.
So we've definitely evolved a lot since, and we have access to a lot of other things now. Of course, technology has helped. So we have all these other types of exercise equipment that now come with interactive software where you're getting a little bit of that community and the social aspect of fitness, which is huge.
There's so many different types. I think anybody that wants to try can literally just go on YouTube and put like at-home workout. If you just want to try one, you don't have to go out of your way. But then there's so many forms. Like you can do VR workouts. You could do almost anything. But the one that we want to talk about is training with an actual trainer from home, which is something that's not new, but it's definitely prevalent nowadays, and I think it's going to continue to rise. So let's say I'm a beginner and I want to get started with an online trainer. Do I just go online and put online trainer and get the first one?
I probably wouldn't.
What would you do?
There's a few options. You have to understand that there's a lot of like cookie cutter program writing out there. So you have, for the first question I want to ask is, are you paying for a program that's like the trainer created once and they just sell it like to the masses? Or do you want to create a personalized program, which of course is always going to be better, because there are a lot of online trainers out there or fitness influencers that are just setting a little cookie cutter program that they just created once and they just sell it to the masses, and it may or may not be appropriate for you.
Yeah, we're not saying these aren't good trainers or what the content they're putting out isn't good, but they might have just wrote something generic and like just get that out there. It's not their emphasis wasn't on being a personalized program.
Yeah, well, we can't argue that from a business standpoint and a time, it's way easier. Like there's nothing easier than as a trainer, I write a few programs, one for fat loss, one for muscle gain, one for strength, blah, 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 and then just put them on my website and do my marketing and, everybody look at me, I'm so fit, and just buy my program. But the reality is that in fitness, personalization is king. Why? Because we're all at different stages. We all have different issues. We may have injuries. We may have to make modifications for certain things. So 9 times out of 10, you get a program handed to you and you're like, well, back squats hurt my back, or this one hurts my knee. So what do I do in that situation?
Jumping,
A lot of times it's like, sorry, you paid the $50 for my program, like you're stuck.
Yeah.
Some good trainers will sell you a more cookie cutter program, but there'll be modifications like, if this bothers you, or if you don't have a barbell at home, do it with dumbbells.
Yeah.
Like, they actually think a little bit more about modifications. But then aside from that, there's always the option to do an actual personalized program. And that's a completely different thing. So you have to, as a consumer, you have to know what you're getting yourself into.
And it seems like that's the difference between going to you can go take a class somewhere and that's just general fitness, you know what I mean? Like you can go take I don't want to call out anybody, but you can go take one of these cardio-based classes, and it's going to be a program for everybody, or you can go do a personalized program that's going to be specific for you. Obviously, the one tailored for you would be
for
better.
Sure superior, but even those classes are better because you still have a coach in real time that can tell you, hey, you should keep your back straight when you do this. You got to understand, when you buy a program online, you're on your own. You buy it and then you have to hope that you're doing things correctly. And it's one of the challenges of training online or buying a program online. But again, it all depends on the quality of your coach. You look for a good coach. There are coaches, we've done online training, and we literally have clients record themselves doing exercises if they're unsure of their technique, and then we give them feedback. Hey, your knees should be a little bit further apart, or whatever that might be. So, just one of those things to be careful with is what kind of, maybe you are the type of person that's been training for a long time and feels comfortable and says, well, I'll save a little bit of money and buy a pre-made program from a reputable coach. No problem at all with that. But if you're a beginner, now you're wondering, am I doing this correctly? That's a different situation.
Yeah, and I think if you're a beginner, you should seek out maybe not one of those huge trainers, because they're busy. So if you get yourself a more intimate experience with a coach, you might, you could do it on Zoom or something, at least the first few sessions, so you can make sure you're doing everything properly. I think that's a smart route to go.
How would you go about choosing a coach?
Well, I go on Instagram and I get the fittest one.
The one that looks the best. So you can look just like them.
Naturally. I get the one with the biggest butt, and then I say, that one to look like that, and then I do the program.
I want your butt.
Yeah.
I want your butt.
Yeah.
I want your butt.
Yeah, that's it. I want your butt on my mantle.
Mm.
Yeah. No, but really, I'm kind of neurotic about these type of things, so I would probably research for days. I would ask them for a sample of the workout too, and then I would see based on that. That tells you a lot based on their response, based on the workout they send you. All of that I think is very telling. You don't want to deal with somebody that has bad customer service or sends you something you're like, well, this doesn't look right, or I tried the workout, it didn't feel right. I would always tell people to shop around, go for reviews, but don't trust them blindly, because people tend to have that idol syndrome, oh my God, I follow this guy, so everything he does is right. I am the complete opposite. I'm a bit of a cynic. So I'll do my research, then I'll contact them. I'll
assume all their reviews are fake.
Assume they're all fake, they're all paid from Fiverr, or that their family wrote the reviews, and I'll try for myself. That's really the only way I think you could do it. Communicate personally with them, talk to them, get a sample workout. If they're not willing to cooperate like that, then maybe you don't want to be working with that type of person.
Yeah, you touched a lot of points that I'd like to dig a little deeper into. One being the classic case of, I like the way this person looks. They're super fit, so if I work out like them, maybe I'll look like them. God, one of my biggest pet peeves as a trainer.
No.
That's not gonna happen. It's just, you don't work with someone because you want to look like them. Okay?
I want to look like J-Lo.
Yeah? You come to the right place.
Yeah. Yeah.
But seriously, when it comes to how you're ultimately going to look, it's mostly determined by genetics, and then of course you can change that dramatically, but at the end of the day, it's still genetics. Your waist to hip ratio, the way that your body structure is, it is the way that it is, and then you can improve upon it. But usually, the sad thing about fitness is that a lot of genetically gifted people get really fit, they go online, they look amazing, everybody wants to look like them, and then they garner a following because everyone wants to look like them, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they're writing a like a scientifically sound, evidence-based program,
Yeah.
they haven't, honestly, they may have been doing whatever BS workouts and still have gotten amazing results. We all know those people that we went to high school with that looked amazing without doing anything.
Yeah,
And
have a six-pack eating Taco Bell.
They worked out for 3 hours and now they look better than everybody else. So
Yep.
just, again, I know I'm ranting here, but it's a real problem. And I know most of you are going to ignore it anyway and still buy a
Follow
program
those.
from people that just look good.
Yeah, and I like the trainers that are more transparent about it and just say like, oh, my workout routine. But the ones that I can't stand are the ones that are like, train like me, and it's like, why? Like, just write a proper program and say that instead of saying like, train with me. Like,
And
no.
be honest about with your clients about the fact that like you're not trying to look like anybody else.
Yeah, I think
No.
the best goal is like when people come up to us like, I want to look like me 2 years ago. I was like, okay, that's still you. That's better than, oh, I want to look like this fitness model. You're like, well, I hate to break it to you, but
Now that that's out of the way, I'd say asking questions. You'd be surprised how many people just don't ask that many questions before they purchase a program or before they you're building a relationship with this coach. Hopefully, if they're good.
Yeah.
First thing you want to ask is this a personalized workout or is this like a general workout that you've written? And usually they'll be pretty upfront about that no matter what. Although sometimes there's a few charlatans that'll tell you it's personalized and all they do is like beep boop, switch some things around and now it's personalized.
Or you compare with your friend and you both got the same workout even though you're vastly different. Yeah.
And again, we talked about this on this podcast over and over, but people have shown us workouts and we come from not to brag, but we've done a lot of work with programming. So we really pride ourselves on like having scientific, like if we're making you do something, we can explain with the science why this makes sense. We didn't just pull it out of our ass or because it looks cool on Instagram, right? So that being said, a lot of people be like, yo, I bought this program from whoever. And you look at the program, you're like,
Oh boy.
God, this is horrible.
Yeah.
This is unnecessary. And a lot of times it's just a general cookie cutter one that they just made and they're putting out there. So ask that. Is this personalized or not?
Yeah.
Look who's here.
It's Eba. It wouldn't be a podcast without
No,
Eba.
gotta make her appearance.
Oh. Oh,
A bit of a foot.
a bit of a giant foot.
Same size as your foot, look. See, that's embarrassing for you, not for me.
Is it?
Yeah.
I mean,
That's
I don't give a
embarrassing for
shit.
me.
It's embarrassing for all of us.
I mean, I don't give a
No,
single
no, no,
shit.
don't do
No,
that.
no, 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 no.
Not on camera, please.
Oh god.
Holy Christ.
I know.
Holy Toledo.
It's incredible.
With Molly.
Such odd proportions. Humans are interesting. You see, if you were to hire Emma and say, hey, I want giant feet like you
It's
and
not gonna happen.
I can do that.
I want to be muscly with giant footed with a really round face, just it's not
Train
gonna
with Emma.
happen for you.
Train
I'm
with Emma.
sorry.
Get them fit.
Get them fit on Instagram, okay?
Get them.
Sure you follow. All right, so you've done a little bit of research. You've followed a few trainers. You like. Oh, something we didn't really touch on is like you have to like the person's style. There's a lot of different styles.
Oh, yeah.
In fitness, some trainers are more militant. Some are a lot more empathetic. Some are more about like positive reinforcement. So depending on what, and you'll know by the way that they post on social media, which is usually how people find each other nowadays. You'll know what kind of trainer you're working with.
Yeah, there's some that are like super strict though. You gotta eat this, 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 and then some are like, hey, it's okay to be flexible with your diet. There's all sorts of things on like animal flow workouts. There's all sorts of like, so you really, like you said, if you haven't tried it, like first thing you gotta do is give it a shot. If you don't like their style of training, you're probably not gonna stick to it.
Yeah, well, even before giving it a shot, follow them for a while and see if their message resonates with you. That's
Yeah.
usually how people find each other. It's like, oh, I like the way that you explain things. I like your tone. I like, you can tell that it vibes with you.
Yeah.
You'll kind of know that. And that's the first step. Then once you've actually made that decision, usually you'll go through some sort of like evaluation or assessment if they're a
If
good
they're
trainer.
decent, yeah.
And you'll be able to like fill in like any issues, your training history, any injuries, what your goals are, and that's pretty much how you'll start your program. And then the next step would be usually the trainer will ask you what type of equipment you have access to. So you're working out at home.
Yeah.
What do you have at home? Dumbbells, bands. You're trying to do just body weight workouts. Do you have access to a membership gym?
Yeah, you're gonna go to a gym, exactly.
And one of the is it Telltale or Tall Tale?
Telltale
Telltale.
signs.
One of the
One of the tall tale signs is Paul Bunyan.
is it Tall Tale?
Telltale.
Telltale. English is not my first language.
So one of the telltale signs.
Telltale. One of the telltale.
Just say something else.
It's weird.
A red flag. Just say something else.
No, it's the perfect word.
Cookie
Need to
cutter.
use it.
One of the telltale signs of a bad trainer.
Oh, of a good trainer.
One of the telltale signs of a good trainer.
Telltale. All right.
I'm gonna say that, and then you finish my sentence. Ready?
Okay, right.
Ready?
Not of a bad, it's of a good
Good.
trainer.
Ready? 1, 2. And one of the telltale signs of a good trainer.
Is when you tell them what equipment you have access to. We even finish each other's sandwiches.
So,
No, but
so one of
the signs
the
that you have
telltale signs.
that you have a good trainer is
Yeah.
when you tell them what equipment that you have access to, they'll be able to give you a workout based on that. I can't do it. Hey, se compró un carrito nuevo. That's a front.
That's a front.
You're gonna have fun. You're gonna have fun.
So one of the telltale signs of a good trainer.
Is that once you tell them what equipment you have access to, like let's say you only have bands or you only have dumbbells, and they give you a program that is consistent with what you have, then you know they created that program for you. I mean, unless they created 30 different programs, one for bands.
That's wild.
But usually that's how it goes. And again, that's so time consuming as a trainer. I mean, we do it because I can't sell myself as a personalized training and not do that for you. But I'm not gonna lie, it's super
Arduous.
yeah, I mean, it's just takes time. It's like, okay, usually my client will send me a little video of their home gym. Here's what I have. And I say, oh, okay, they have a med ball, they have a few kettlebells, whatever. And then I create, based on what they have, I create a program specifically for you.
Exactly. That's
we
because
have-
you're a good trainer. Wow.
Thank you.
Shit. Hey.
So I've heard. Another sign that your trainer is on point is check-ins. Right? We all know how important it is, the accountability when it comes to fitness. So if your trainer is constantly checking in, if they have a system for checking in, how's everything going? How are you feeling? What kind of progress have you made? You know, that could be strength, performance stuff. Sometimes the trainer will tell you like do certain measurements on yourself to see how you're progressing. And again, that just means the trainer is involved and that they care about each person that they're working with. Many trainers, they don't have that because again, they're either giving you a general program or they have a team of people or they've automated a lot of things.
Yeah.
But if you're talking to the trainer themselves, that's already like a big, like a good sign.
For sure. That's another reason I said not to go after like those huge like 15 million followers on Instagram. Odds are they're just not gonna have time. It's realistic. It's not calling them a bad trainer or anything, but
Maybe they have a team.
yeah, if you have a good team, but you're not gonna have time to personally
You're not
like
talking to them, that's for sure.
for sure. So I always say like, you know, careful, tread lightly with those bigger programs unless they're, of course, like I said, they have a good team or they have some other sort of system.
Yeah, and I guess this would be a good time to do a shameless plug.
Oh yeah, we do
Obviously,
online training, guys.
we do online training, and it's not a salesy thing. We actually do have limited spots, so we only take in a few people at a time because again, it's time consuming. We already have a lot of clients in person, and we have a few online as well. So, but yeah, if you want to inquire about that, just shoot us a DM or comment. But we do offer that as well. And a lot of times what happens is we'll train somebody in person and then they're moving away. And then, you know, hey, I want to keep training. I love your training style and I'm seeing great results. Okay, no problem. Just hop on the app. It's real easy.
Yeah, we have an app so that people can track their numbers. That helps us see if they've made any progress. If we see that they're stagnant with a movement or they can make little comments like, well, this one hurt my back. We can tweak it. We can adjust things.
We see it in real time. You make a comment and we'll get a notification. Hey, this one's hurting my back, or the gym that I'm going to doesn't have this machine. What else can I substitute it with? And we can just make those changes on the fly. It's a really user-friendly app, I would say.
Yeah, I've never had anybody complain about the app or the process of it. So inquire, guys. How you do. Never you think like that, now you do. So in conclusion, guys, there's really no excuse to not work out anymore. Like even if you're stuck at home for whatever reason, the eclipse, very timely, or any other reason, you can work out at home. No equipment, some equipment. There's good trainers out there that will help you. You can even do some of the Tai Bo if you want, if you're into that type of stuff.
Why not?
Why not? And actually, I'm gonna go do a Suzanne Summers workout right now, so
I'll join you.
We'll leave it there. Thigh Master.
Until next time. They called me the Thigh Master in high school.
What? I thought they called you Mr. Softy.
What?